Hi Azzam, Daphne here. Thank you for sending in your next essay so quickly. Well done. Hope you found the corrections useful. And you've got it on a Word document. That's fantastic. Can you make sure also, please, that you put in the picture for me? That just makes it easier so we can refer back to it. Thank you very much. Okay, let's look at this. So in many countries, traditional foods are being replaced by fast food. This has a negative impact on families, individuals, society. To what extent do you agree or disagree? So it's like an opinion essay here. Experts throughout both the developing and developed world have debated whether replacing traditional food with fast food is a negative or positive change. If you use it like this, as an active verb, replacing traditional food, it suggests that it's being done deliberately. Here, when they've got it in the passive here, it's not being done deliberately, it's happening. Some outside force is making it happen. This is quite different what you've suggested here. And I also think you really need to change the words that are in the text. So don't have the same words as they have. Your job is to show language. So your job is to paraphrase as much as you can here. So experts, okay, you can even add nutritional or health experts, if you want, have debated whether the rapid increasing popularity of fast food is a negative or positive change in as it is, you could use replacing, but it is often more popular, it is less healthy than traditional foods. And that's a bit long, but what I want to try and show you is that you can't use the same words as they do. So you have to kind of find a way around it, but you have to also show that you understand the statement here. In my opinion, I entirely agree the current consumption have disadvantages. Okay, so if you're going to use this and have disadvantages, such as, you need to tell me what the disadvantages might be. So you need to give me a little bit more content here, not just I think there are lots of disadvantages. You need to tell me what they are, such as increase or decreasing family bonds, something like that, as well as or health. I'm just giving you an example there, but you need to say something. Don't just go, the advantages are better than the disadvantages. You need to put some words in there. There are many reasons to believe that consuming processed foods rather than homemade ones negatively affect people's lives. Good, nice sentence there, well done. Firstly, there evidence proving how poor dietary nutrients in fast foods have caused many serious health related. Good. Diabetes, yep, are all on the rise due to eating fat. Yep, good, nice. These diseases have been closely related to obesity. We say closely linked, actually, to obesity, which is directly related to, which is maybe a direct result of a poor and unhealthy diet. Just slightly neater. Using the nouns, use as many nouns as you can, it works really well. 1/3 of teenagers suffer from obesity, which will potentially lead to multiple diseases in the future. Yeah, so just go into a future there, this is a bit of variety. That paragraph is fine. Okay, so let's get back to the question. It has a negative impact. To what extent do you agree? So you're giving me negatively affect people's lives. Good, just checking we're absolutely on the question. Okay, new paragraph here. So that should be clearly a new paragraph. Another reason to consider is that healthcare systems, plural, spend, singular, a substantial part of its budget on people with diet risk instead of funding research. However, emphasising the importance of having healthy and homemade food would save society considerable sums. Good. Furthermore, families are becoming increasingly disconnected as they're no longer gathering for having a meal. If people reduced, I'd go a second conditional there. If people reduce the consumption of fast food, this would enhance family relations and improve people's communication. Okay, I like how you've got the conditional in that. I definitely go second conditional. Communication. Okay. I think what we can do, so I like what you're writing. I feel you could, having said don't be too long last time, I couldn't do the word count last time, but I think you can add a little bit more depth here. I think this is absolutely fine. I think this is good, but I think to push this towards the kind of band 7 that I imagine you're aiming for, we need to kind of add some detail to these sentences. No longer gathering for having a family meal because fast food is often consumed alone to suit different working schedules or lifestyles. So just by adding that because and adding that extra sentence there, I'm showing more language, I'm adding more depth, I'm adding more vocabulary. Okay, so let's see where else we could do this. Sometimes where you've got a short sentence, yeah. And so another reason to consider is, okay, you could also start this a bit stronger. Okay, additionally, yeah, it is often suggested that the healthcare systems or that healthcare systems. So you don't need the if it's the plural. So you could go into here. It's often suggested that healthcare systems. Yeah. So I think that's better than another reason to consider. Let's go back up to here. Direct result of poor and unhealthy diet. Yeah. So here, you could add something here, which meaning, or how, or on the rise. Yeah. Diet which, although convenient and cheap, yeah, is nutrient poor and is nutrient poor. Okay, because you've already said about the sugar. So here I've got a nice little concession. I'm saying it's cheap. Obviously that's why people eat it, but it's unhealthy. So by adding in these little extras here, we're upgrading the essay. Okay, but otherwise I really like what you're doing. So keep going. You're doing really, really well. Oh, conclusion, sorry. Although has become recently more popular, it's drawback, yeah. So be very careful of this kind of sentence. This is a empty sentence. You need to go back to what you've been saying here. It's empty because you could put it in any essay and it's not telling me anything connected to your writing now. So I need every sentence to be connected to this essay. And it's an opinion essay. To what extent? So you have to have, I strongly agree that. Yeah, or I strongly believe that. Make sure here you get back to this idea about society. Again, be careful you stay on track. The negative impact on these people. Yes, on families because the people aren't eating together. Yes, on individuals because they're unhealthy. And yes, on society because, as you said, it's very expensive for the healthcare. So make sure your conclusion goes back up to that title and links all the ideas together. Shoe sales here. Okay, so bar chart. So when you look at this, look at what you could group together. So what could you group? You could group obviously the highest countries, or who bought the most of one colour. You could group together some of these little ones here who liked black shoes. So think about how we could group. That's quite important there. Illustrates the number of two types of shoes. Yep, so, okay. Overall, let's have this a new sentence. Overall, evident the highest number of black shoes were in Hungary, were sold in Hungary, or were, let's go sold, yeah, purchased in Hungary, while the smallest was in France. Brown shoe sales were the highest in Germany, whereas, yeah, I wouldn't go meanwhile. I think that's better for task 2 than task 1. Was in France. Okay. I don't think you need that additional thing in your overall. You can just go with that. I mean, you don't need to make your overall sentence that long. So, okay, that's fine. Let's get into some of the detail here. In Hungary, sales of black shoes were the highest at around 130, followed by Italy. Okay. Black shoe sales in Belgium were almost similar. In Germany, yep, good. Shoes ranged from just over 5 to 55 in the other 3 countries. Okay. Brown were popular, while in Belgium, yep. The proportions are equal. Okay, so I absolutely see what you've done, which is fine, but to get a band 7, you need to group the information, which you are doing, but you need to contrast it. So rather than just giving me all the black and all the brown, think about how you could contrast it. So you've said that, let's group the black. You've said the black sales in Germany, Ireland and Poland were around 70,000, yeah, which was, how many, what, 60,000 fewer than Hungary, where most black shoes were sold. Sorry. So we need to link back the information of one group that you've done and to something else. So think of this contrasting all the way through. So I'm taking these numbers here and I'm contrasting them with that. Yeah. Equally, you absolutely need to highlight that one, which you did. The number of brown shoes in Belgium. So this is the most dramatic thing in the whole chart. That. So in Belgium, you've got, yeah, so 2,000 in Belgium. So Belgium, you can, in contrast, Belgian shoppers purchased only around 2,000 pairs or units. Let's go units. And then you could have, which was, how many, quickly trying to do the maths? Anyway, X times less than the French, British, or where can we compare it back to, or Dutch. Shoppers preferred. Something like that. But what I'm trying to show you is not particularly the maths, but is this whole idea of grouping, taking something and comparing it. So I'm taking this number here, which is obviously something to be talked about, and then comparing it to a group of other numbers. Okay, these little words in contrast, which you've got your linking words, which are great, but join the information together. Okay, so there's lots of good stuff in here, but don't just be tempted to list it. Make sure you see it in a different way. So group it and contrast it. Okay, well done, you're doing well.